have like this 2-hour gap or 2.5-hour gap, and they're always so unhappy because they figure they messed up their schedule, because you don't want to have a break. What a waste. But actually having breaks between classes is a really good thing if you can do it. So I want you to look at this schedule, and I'm going to do a really short version of this, but I just want you to get the idea. If you look at Monday morning, this student has a general business class that goes from 8 to 9:30, and then they have a history class at 11. So that means they have an hour and a half from 9:30 to 11 off. What are they going to do during that hour and a half? Well, they could do whatever, right? If they live across the street, they can go home. But most people, they're just sort of stuck here, and they're thinking, okay, let's see, is the cafeteria open or whatever? They're trying to figure out what to do. So what I want to do, and again, this is just kind of a quick example of this. I'm going to break the hour and a half into 3 half-hour segments, okay? And ask you a question, okay? And that is, this person in the morning has their business class, then they have history. So business here, history here. What are they going to do during these half hours? Well, again, anything they want, but there's something that I have in mind that hopefully you'll kind of understand as being logical. What would be the best thing for this student to do right here in this half hour? No other time, but right there. I heard 3 answers. They were all interesting. Some people, by the way, should say this. I say, what do you do here? They say, eat. And I say, okay, well, how about here? Eat. How about here? Eat. So they got eating on their mind. Eating's important, but going to hold off on that. So what I want to, and this is kind of what you mentioned, is to review the class that you just got out of. Now, you don't have to answer this because I don't even know the answer, but I know that if we say what % of all college students are in the regular habit of reviewing a class right when they get out of it, you know that it's really, really small. You know, 5%, 3%, hardly anybody does that. They just, when class is over, and they leave. Okay? What's the benefit of reviewing here instead of here or here or here or here? Yeah, it's still fresh. What happens with every minute that goes by once the class ends? It just leaks away. You forget. Well, what you're trying to do is hold all that in your brain so that it goes more into your long-term memory, so it sticks. And so sitting in the classroom, if no other class is coming in, on a bench, in the library or whatever, and just spending 30 minutes at the most reviewing the notes that you just took that day, looking over the chapter in the textbook that was covered, if there was one, and even starting homework that was given. All these things are good. When do most people look at their notes the next time after the day they take them? Yeah, some people say the next time I go to class, and that's actually not great but not bad, but most people say the night before the test. And the problem with that in college is that that might be a few days later, but it could also be like 4 or 5 weeks later. And unless you're the greatest note taker ever, when you look back at your notes that you took 3 weeks ago, there are going to be all these parts of sentences that you didn't finish because you were trying to keep up with the teacher, other things you can hardly read, and you don't even understand the notes, and then it becomes impossible to use them, and then that affects you on the test. So if you spent 5 or 10 minutes reviewing the notes right after class, rereading them, fixing, finishing, putting a question mark, etc., and